I belong to the largest club in the whole country, the California Hawking Club. I am the treasurer for the largest falconry club in the whole country, that California Hawking Club. My wife is the membership chair, and I deal with their finances and money. Every year we go somewhere and do a field trip. This last year, for my winter vacation, I went to Visalia. Yeah! Sometimes I get to go to Bakersfield for my winter vacation. Woo! Remember what your mama also taught you again. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You got to be excited about it. So, all right, this is one of my favorite hats, one of my favorite jerseys. I'm not on today. Thanks for inviting me in on Tuesday, my day off. I will tell you later on. I can tell you now, too, if it matters. You guys, I'm here Wednesday through Sundays. Right now, till the end of the month, the park is only open till 5 o'clock. We're open from 8 to 5 until the end of February. Then starting March 1st, we'll be open from 8 to 7:30. And then I will start my summer schedule, if you will. I'll be in from 11 to 7:30 for my 8-hour day. You can always get me here on the weekends. I'm a guy with Monica, love her dearly, that works here on the weekends. We cover the store then. I close, she opens. If Russ isn't here. One of my favorite hats. One of my other favorite hats is my park ranger hat. And I'm not wearing a uniform. You haven't ever seen me in uniform. But I'm one of your fish and game wardens here in the county of Los Angeles. I've been through Powers of Arrest, PC 832, Rio Hondo College. The credits I earned taking that class, learning how to take people down, arrest them. No, not Tommy. I did that, and those college credits worked toward my college degree in the end. Don't ask me how I was able to navigate the computer back then when I was doing that, but I did okay in college. Everything I was learning during the day here on the job, everything I was seeing, smelling, touching, tasting, everything I was observing and using my powers to see, I would take to the classroom at night and ask my professors questions about that. And everything I was learning in school and college, I was bringing to the table at work here today. Every day. I don't know how many days that is after 28 years times 365, a couple leap years. I'm not doing that math, forget that. What? I'm sorry?
Do you have occasion to use your fishing game?
I do.
Have you arrested many people here?
No, that's what the sheriffs are for. 1-800-834-0064. That's the number I want you to call for the sheriff's parks unit. We don't. I took only modules 1 and 3. The second one in the middle was the one with the gun. So yeah, they don't give county supervisors guns. So we did modules 1 and 3. I don't have that.
But do you have people that do things that are bad in terms of
all the time
violating regulations?
All the time. Yes, all the time. Of course, the biggest one, and it's not even a big deal because when I first started, I was like the rookie right out of camp. I was like the German Shepherd barking at his face. You can't do that. And now, Ruth Ann has taught me to chill a little bit. Now I take a different approach. I see you down there with the gold pan. I see you with your little metal detector. You may not be familiar with our park rules or our park policies. We don't allow that here anymore, sir. So if I may please ask you to put a Geiger counter away or whatever you're searching for, uranium or whatever. You can't do that here any longer, okay? And then boom, I start talking about the discovery of gold. Do you know where the tree is? And you go send them out to the Oak of the Golden Dream. And along the way, you're going to run into the Lion's Oak, and then after that, the Walker Cabin. Shoot, man, and our new bathrooms, huh? Huh? All right, you can't open an ADA-compliant bathroom until you get an ADA-compliant ramp in. Of course, according to the ADA laws, you can't be more than a 10-degree angle. So that's why it's not open yet, but it's coming, okay? So, and the other thing is, little people and adults. Here's you and I, my queen, people want to take things from the park. People want to take things from the park. I'll come out of my office over there, and here comes a gal from the city, some Flatlander, with a bouquet of wildflowers. Sons of Zanzibar. That frosts me. One dude came out of here one day when she and I were out here with another. The day before we were going to teach mycology with a world-renowned mycologist, dude comes walking out of the back of the building of the ecology with a giant mushroom. The cap was this big. The stalk was this big around. He made the mistake of walking by me first, but he didn't know what, what a timber wolf could do. And she got in his face. Why did you take that? And you just kind of give them, people have reasons for doing everything. I don't know, they got reasons for doing stuff. So why'd you do that? Well, I wanted to take it home so I could study it, is what I think he told us, and just learn about it. Couldn't he have just taken a picture on iNaturalist or whatever, or taken a picture and gone home and studied the photograph? Put a ruler up, put a quarter up for dimension. Well, it turned out to be one of the most deadliest things you could touch around here with your bare hands. Suffice to say, Carol, I kicked him out of the park, of course. And sometimes I gotta be bad cop.
There's one of those mushrooms, and there's one of those mushrooms on the ecology trail right now.
Excellent.
Jack-o'-lantern.
Excellent. Well, we're gonna do somewhere. I'm gonna go somewhere with you, Dave. But the point is, dude has not been heard from since, and he's never been heard from again. Yeah, like I say, do not annoy, torment, pester, plague, molest, worry, badger, harry, harass, heckle, or otherwise ruffle the animals or plants. Right? Leave them alone. And you could say about that flower, hey, dude, you know what? Little buddy, I got to take that from you. Sorry you picked it. I don't let him walk out of here with it. Oh, I confiscate him. I take it. I don't care if I'm on my naturalist shirt or my warden uniform. I can't take that. What grows inside a flower, everybody? Seeds. After the pollinated seeds, and the seed grows the fruit, and the seeds are what grow more plants next year. That one plant had 100 seeds in it. You got 5 of them. You got 50. What are you doing? 500 seeds you just kiped from me. When was the last time you heard that word? Kipe. That's something I used to use back in the day when things were groovy. When I grew up in the 60s with 2 teenage sisters. That was pretty far out. Believe me, Malibu. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, don't bully rag. What's bully rag? Jimmy, what's bully rag? Just quiet, great. Anyway, peek at that. So, okay, interpretation. My third favorite hat, you guys, is my favorite hat, my raccoon hat. My raccoon hat. I've been wearing this bad boy for over 25 years. My daughter got this hat for me at Disneyland. You say Disneyland and their little ears perk up in life. When there used to be something called Bear Country there. Bear Country, now it's like Winnie the Pooh land or whatever. So I haven't been there since she was a kitten, but I still wear my raccoon hat. Supervisor Antonovich, when he would come to the park, and I was here during the entire remodel. Unfortunately, I know more about this building and this unit than anybody else on the planet. You used to be able to see outside. These are things that I can interpret you would know about, but you could see the outside through the wall. There was a gap. We had one air conditioner in the window, one of those wall units. It was supposed to heat and cool the whole building. Nope. Now I have 4 5-ton thermostatically controlled heating and air conditioning units. The walls are now insulated with magazine shreds and recycled magazines and newspapers for insulation. The paint, Dunn Edwards Eco Shield paint, recycled material. The carpet you're standing on, recycled tiles. If one gets bad, and I'm going to ask that we redo the carpets again pretty soon, my docent contingency, maybe we could get some money to clean the carpets again. But we could pull one of these carpet tiles up and lay another one down, recycled material, and recycle that. Reduce or use, recycle. They relate to those words. Then I start talking about conservation maybe. Boys and girls, or ladies and gentlemen, do you turn the water off when you're brushing your teeth? Yeah, you got it, right? Do you collect water after the rain or in a rain barrel bucket like I do at my house? I collect water in a bucket while I'm waiting for the hot water, from my shower. It's not a big bucket. Well, my wife can't lift too much, but I go through a couple buckets waiting for it to get warm, take it out. I can flush the toilet with it. I could give it to my dogs, my cats, Anybody here have animals at home, by the way? See, and what I'm doing is I'm engaging. Engage your patrons. Ask them questions. How many have animals? Okay, did you say you have animals? How many do you have?
2.
2. That's great. Who else had an animal? How many do you have at home?
2 doves.
2 dogs. What are their names?
Buffy, like the vampire slayer, and Anactoria, which is a Greek name.
Right on. Right on. See, so you engage the little kids. Oh, somebody's pointing at, hey, blue shirt. How many critters do you have at your house? 40?
45.
Right on. That's a lot of critters to take care of. That's a lot of manpower. You looking for volunteers? You looking for volunteers to help? Oh, there it is. All right. See the lady after the show, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I'm down to like 29. I've been as high as 60 and more. People in the environment will come to us here at the Nature and say, Ranger Frank, I got this snake. I can't keep it anymore, and here's the tank. Do you want it? And then I will do that. I have over the years. Here at the park, by the way, when the Wildlife Way Station dissolved, and I knew Martine, when they dissolved, we acquired about 10 of their animals, including the 3 that you're going to touch. You're going to hear a little bit from me about today and a little bit more from Barbara, because she had those animals originally at the way station before they were transferred here. So she knows a little bit more of their earlier history than what Monica and I and Marietta would know about their current history. So we know y'all know they're all non-releasable ambassadors. I use them as such. When's the last time you got, like 5 feet away from a red-tailed hawk, right? And you can see it. And when she stretches her wings, you'll see that her right wingtip is missing from the wrist. It's missing, so she doesn't have full flight like a red-tail should for soaring and for hunting food. So you'll learn about that. You'll learn about Bodie, the turkey vulture, and about Jawbone, the long-eared owl. That reminds me. You know what kids also love? Coffee. No. I can't do it. They love calls and sounds. They love noise. They love screaming. Little high. You would be the female in that case. No, that's okay. Whoever did that. No, you be the female. And here's why. Because, and then I turn it around and go, boys and girls, or ladies and gentlemen, do you know the male barn owl has a lower voice than the female? Here's how you impress your buddies at the barbecue, Willie. All right? When you guys are at the barbecue, you guys, and you hear 2 owls calling across the canyon from tree to tree, and right now is nesting season. They're territorializing. They're pairing up. On the bird walk this last Saturday, Ken, thank you, saw 3 red tails. Yahoo! I love when the guys out there see raptors. That's my big deal. And so, likely 2 males. Interpret that. Well, likely 2 males trying to court the female. Right? So, and you hear their cries. So, yeah, the male, the lower voice, and it's a 4 count. Ooh, 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 ooh. And the female, ooh, 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 ooh. Her voice is higher. Her call is higher. So you can go, oh, there's the male over there. Oh, that's got to be the... How do you know that? Ranger Frank taught me at the Nature Center today. And they love that stuff. Whenever I get them here and I teach them stuff at the end of a presentation or something, scouts or whatever, I always challenge them to go home that night, and at the dinner table, if you'll have dinner together with your family, teach somebody at the dinner table 3 things that you learned here today. And what I'm doing is, and I tell them, what I'm doing is I'm teaching you to be a teacher. Whoever it is. Whoever it is. It could be 95-year-old grandma walking in, or 8-year-old, Frankie Jr., whatever, a little kid. But you teach them to teach other people stuff that they learn. And statistically, if you enjoy something, if you dig it, if you had a great experience or a good experience with something, you're only going to tell about 3 or 4 people, maybe 5. If you have a bad experience, statistically, the numbers go up. Man, you've told 8 to 10 people. Don't go see that guy at Placerita, that dude Frank. All he does is bird calls all damn day. Damn it, Hoffman, my kid hasn't stopped doing bird calls for 6 months at the house. And they do. They go home and they will mimic you. They will mimic you. Mimicry. That's boom. Now, another word. Bam. The California mountain king snake, Lampropeltis, when I used to call Lampropeltis zanata. Olivia taught me there's a new scientific term. They're delineating them, the southern mountain kings from the northern mountain kings. I had my head in the door when she taught me that, she taught you, I already knew it, that the first color on the snout, the black color, suggests the California mountain king. The white color on the snout first is the Sonoran or Arizona mountain king. Boom, mimicry. Red, white, and black. Coral snakes. Red, black, and yellow. She taught it to you. Remember it? Let's review. Red touch yellow could kill a fellow. Red touch black, you're okay, Jack. Or friend of Jack, or red touch black, venom lack. However you want to develop your own thing. I want you to do that. I want you to be creative. The reason we're doing this too, by the way, every time you guys come is so that you're all hearing the same thing at the same time. What I would really, really hope and almost kind of expect is consistency. That's all any employer can hope to be consistent, or any employee hope that their staff and their supervisors and management or whatever are, is that they're consistent. So I kind of want us all to say the same basic things, but then tweak it a little bit, manipulate it that works for you. A lot of you may not have public speaking skills yet, but you can develop those. Believe it or not, you guys, I used to be the shyest dude you ever knew. I was extremely introverted. I've always been thin. I was bullied.
Lie detector determined.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Is this on? This on? Okay. Yeah, you can put my, I will put my hand on a holy stack of falconry books and I will swear on that. But admittedly, you guys, once in a while I run out of film. So I don't remember everything. I know a lot because I repeat it repeatedly. And at your job here, if you're volunteering at the nature, or wherever you're at, you might volunteer at the Botanic Gardens using the knowledge and information you gained here. You're going to hear it over and over. It's just going to get embedded in your head. But practice, 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 right? Okay, Ron, well, I'll tell you what. So this is my favorite hat, but it gets hot, so I got to take it off every once in a while. But if it could be 110 degrees out there, and I'll still be wearing my raccoon hat, I'm going more for the look than I am for, I'll tolerate the heat. So, you got to think about that. Could we show the first slide? And I will challenge these. Wait, one more rattlesnake question. Yes, sir. Oh, I love rattlesnakes and the people who love them.
One thing I've told people that I'm going through this, and the first thing they always ask is the one-winged bird still hanging out in front. So has that vulture been here for a long time?
No. What they're probably, yes. What they're likely referring to is Rufus, or what was a one-winged red-tailed hawk.
Okay.
And she goes way back, way back. Not here past of old age, likely in her 20s. Animals are going to live a lot longer in captivity than they are in the wild. Certainly, the birds, you'll learn their age. You'll learn their ages here from Barbara, and I can talk to you. I've got all the charts, of course. I'm the one that keeps the records here. But on top of everything else, I also maintain the records. What do you see here? I want you to look at this picture, and I want you to ponder that picture for a minute. This is taken by a good friend of mine up in Yosemite recently, and he brought that in to me, and a couple others and I were sitting around, and we said, "What is that?" It is a snowstorm. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So, I see what you're doing. So, I want you to look at this for a second. And, remember, guys, my mom taught me this. I learned it along the way, too. There's 13 sides to a story. My way, your way, and the real way, right? And what about the one that somebody saw from another angle or from above? What'd you see from what do you see here? I see a lot of things, of course. Beside the obvious being the powdery snow.
Probably a hawk with something dragging along and then taking flight.
Something like that, exactly.
Rabbit was walking and then
Okay.
a bunny.
Look.
She said a bunny, so let's go with bunny. And
Okay.
then hawk came and
Good observation.
dinner.
Good observation. Let's rule out a rabbit. Let's rule out a bunny. Look how wide that track is. Look how wide that is. That's wider than a bunny. Look at the footprints. Rabbits go like this. They hop like that. So this is something that's a quadruped, 4 legs. Remember, most mammals on the planet are quadrupeds, quadrupedal. You and I, we're bipedal, 2 legs. So this thing was walking or something. It's dragging. What I see is it might be dragging its belly or a tail. It got right about here, in my opinion. I don't know. It got right about here, and here comes what it is. Boom! Grabbed it likely here and was taken off with it. This is almost a whole wing right here. The downstroke. Boom! It got up, it almost got off the ground completely. Boom, there's the second stroke. And then boom, it looks like it's angling to the left. You'll see trees if the picture were larger. So we don't know, we'll never know, but this is what I would ask you to do when you got little people and you got this itch. What do you see here? What do you think, boys? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Could that be a coyote or a small fox or something small like that with big footprints? I think it got grabbed there, and that was the end of the story for it. And a hawk or eagle, I mean, you could even say, could it be an eagle? I said to somebody, it could be a goshawk grabbing a snowshoe hare. Of course, I know goshawks, most people don't. Others would say, let's think it's a great horned owl. Let's say it was something that came in at night, a great horned owl. Look at the size of the wingspan. It's not a bloody kestrel. This ain't a deer mouse, and that's not a kestrel. So look at the wing, take it all in. And challenge them to do that. Ask them questions. Make them give you response. Pretty cool stuff, huh? So that's the way I see it, but others might see it in a different way. It could be one of us, somebody's out of this room might be exactly right, but we're never going to know. But we can use our imaginations and we can pretend, right? Use your imagination. Get them to use their imaginations too. So when I saw this the other day, I said, that's going to go on my slide presentation. Denny, thank you for taking that picture. Right on. We have no idea what that bloody thing is. But wow, interpretation, right? All you saw was a couple pieces of wood a second ago. I told you a beaver chewed on them. Now you know. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. You guys want to take a little break? Do we need to take a break, Ron, or no? Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. 10-minute break, everybody. 10-minute break. I'll be here if you have any questions. I was 20-ish, whatever, young and dumb. Beth, for you, my queen. If you don't know it, Richard Green of Green's Nurseries in town, pretty cool guy, treats the nature center very well. For years, he has had a peregrine falcon pair off of Old Orchard show up and breed and raise young peregrines. Again, I told you there were only 39 pairs in the whole country back in the day. Through the efforts of the conservation guys like my falconer buddies and captive breeding projects and all, they are not endangered. They are not even critically endangered anymore. This is just one example. I had one in back that came out of town. Governor Newsom, last year actually, signed off on SB 945, Senate Bill 945, to delist the peregrine falcon in California so that we as falconers could take wild peregrines. We've not ever been able to do that because they are on the federal endangered species list. And remember, y'all, there's the Fed, there's the state, there's the county, the city. The one at the bottom is usually the one that has the most jurisdiction. So because it's federal law, we're not able to take them yet, but we're working very hard on it. They're going to delay us another 5 to 10 years to do a survey, if you will, on how many peregrines are in a like area or how many are. They're here, man. They're here. We know they're in the Pacific Flyway. We know they're everywhere. Not the first birds I've seen here. People bring us birds from the rescues, the rehabilitation facilities. We work primarily with the Ojai Raptor Center and with Anna Reams out at the Wildlife Care of Southern California. We get peregrines all the time. In fact, up in the Antelope Valley, they captured what they thought was a a golden eagle that was eating barbecue that somebody was feeding. It was right after that little eagle fledged from Big Bear, so they thought it was, anyway, it turned out not to be a bald eagle. It turned out to be a golden eagle. The beaks are different. If you look at things structurally, if you look at how their beaks are formed, how they're shaped, clearly I could tell it was not a baldy, it was a golden. We got a lot to go over in the next couple minutes here. I'm going to go through this whole baby, this big baby right here. No, we're not. Yes, ma'am.
Before you move on,
Okay.
part of the peregrine restoration is they had peregrines in downtown LA, and they still do. They nest on the building.
Yes.
They hunt in the city.
Yep.
There's now a large population of peregrines in downtown LA.
Oh yeah, they've been there for years. In fact, they found a burrowing owl a couple years downtown, like Hyde Park, one of those big cities downtown in LA. Right in the middle of the city. Well, what is this little burrowing owl doing here? You all know what a burrowing owl is, right? Okay, I'm not quite ready for that yet, but okay. No, it's all right, it's all right. You know, a burrowing owl is an owl that, one, is diurnal. Use this room. It's an owl that's diurnal, not nocturnal. One of several owls that are. The hawk owl is a diurnal owl. And, you know, it's only this big. They live in a burrow underground, not in a nest cavity or in a tree like a screech owl. In fact, back to interpretation a little bit, it's going to be harder for, well, it's going to be a little harder for the people in the back to make this out, but that's for a reason. What do you see back there? Do you see the little screech? Can you guys see the little screech owl in here? Right? Oh, Evelyn can't.
Yeah.
Camouflage, the first form of defense for most animals, cryptic coloration. You want to be camouflaged. So when you're out there on the trails, dang it, man, always watch where you're putting your hands and your feet. If you got to go over a log, or you're going to jump, you know, don't just jump over the log. You stand on top of the log and look to see what's on the other side before you step down. I learned a lot during this rattlesnake interpretation class about people who do that very thing. They just jump over and boom, they get on the ankle. Ouch. That's going to leave a mark. That's going to hurt. So always look when you step. Always watch where you're putting your hands and your feet. You all know what poison oak looks like in the summertime, right? Without its leaf structure. It just looks like vines and things that you think are otherwise okay to let your dog run through or what have you. No, don't let your dogs run off their leashes at all. There's about 10 reasons, 10 reasons why I don't bring my dog to the mountains, including the rattlesnakes, the ticks, the thorn bushes, the puncture vine. They used to pop your tire on your Schwinn Stingray, remember? You'd run over and they pumped your sissy tire there. So they did mine. I don't know about you, but they did mine. So all that stuff, man. Other dogs off their leashes. All right, interpretation, camouflage, beautiful stuff. Over the years, I've just had some questions too, and over the years, you get to see a lot of things here at the Nature Center. I want you to use and call on all of your life experiences when you are talking here and sharing your stories. And never ruin a good story for the truth. All right? Stretch it out a little bit. You know, use some cool things, right? Tell a good story. I'm talking to a writer over here, another writer over here. I've done a little bit of writing. Let's go to the next slide, Ronnie.
Okay, we put this together early.
Very early today, Cats. I mean,
So what are you looking for as far as slide? Because I don't know if they're in the.
oh, I know. Okay, whatever the order they're in, sir, I will adapt. That's another damn thing. It's survival of the adapted. It's not survival of the fittest. It is survival of the adaptive. Okay, you could be the biggest, baddest elk on the mountainscape, and here comes a boulder rolling down the hill. If you don't get out of the way, adapt and get out of the way, you're done. You're gone. You're gone.
Just trying to get the lighting right.
You guys see any camouflage in there? What is that? That's a, okay, a lot of us grew up calling them horny toads. This is a coastal variety. There are several, that's another thing. When you talk, when you interpret, I recommend giving yourselves a range for your answer. Just don't say this is a horny toad or horny lizard. You know that what I would say is this is one of the varieties, for example, one of the varieties of the horned lizard, and they can be, they're not just, oh, and they're only found at 200 feet above mean sea level. No, they're between 100, they can be found between 100 and 250 feet above sea level. Give yourselves a range. That way you're not nailing yourselves down. Because you might be out here, been there, done that, and doing a lecture or talking about something like a red-tailed hawk and the morphism and color, the coloration, and there'll be somebody from the San Fernando Valley Audubon Society standing right over there listening. You better be careful what you say. Give yourselves a range. You know, they can be found up to, or usually they're this or that, or they're generally categorized like this or that. Don't nail yourselves down. Give yourselves a range. So yeah, this happens to be the coastal variety horned lizard. One of our docent friends, Dan Duncan, took this. Gentleman walks the PCT all the time. This was not the next slide I intended to show up, but I'm glad it's here because it kind of ties into Mr. Screech Owl here in camouflage. Rattlesnakes do not always warn you before they strike. In fact, in July of last year, the week before I gave my lecture with my buddy, they had 2 victims at Henry Mayo, and in neither case did the rattlesnake rattle before it struck. They were off trail. Stay on the trail, dang it. From me. Stay on the trail, because if you guys go off the trail to show a wood rat nest, I'm not bagging on anybody, I'm just saying stay on the trail, use your pointy stick or bring your laser scope, whatever. When you start going off the trail, then other people think they can too. And you start seeing little trails and tracks and where you've gone off the bloody trail. I know that's a human track because it went from the trail straight over the wood rat nest and right back. But when I'm out there and I'm asking the kiddos and the adults to use all of their powers when they're out there on the trail, I want you to look for signs and evidence and things that might tell you the animals are there. Dear, you may not see that snake, but after the foothill fire in 2004 and the whole park was burned to the ground and only ashes on the ground, I saw snake tracks in the ashes. There are 4 things I like to look for or have available to me when I'm looking for animal tracks. Snow, mud, sand. Remember the last time you took your shoes off and walked on the beach on the sand? Yeah. And or ashes after a fire. I saw a lot of dead things out there too, but I saw a snake track, came right out of the burrow. Dude was underground, survived. He adapted to that fire. It's not just the flame, you guys. Remember smoke inhalation? Never breathe wildfire smoke. Poison oak is out there burning too. I've heard of firefighters that have actually passed away breathing in fire, woodland fire smoke. Poison oak oil, it floats around in the air, it gets in the smoke, they breathe it in, it gets in their lungs, man, they blister from the inside out. Not everybody's allergic to poison oak, but it's a pretty tough thing. Who knows what poodle dog, did they teach you about poodle dog bush? No. Ruth Ann and I know what poodle dog bush is. Sounds cute, huh? Henry Mayo came to me and said, Ranger Frank, is there anything? I go, yeah, have you guys ever heard of poodle dog bush? It'll give you a worse rash than poison oak. It's a fire follower. I don't know if we're teaching fire sciences anywhere along the line. That's one of the classes in college I took too. But the plants burn, the oils get in the smoke, they float through the air, and then you breathe them in and boom. It'll give you, it's a beautiful flower. It's a purple-blue flower. And as a fire follower, a lot of people on mountain bikes come ripping down the hills and don't pay attention to what they're brushing into, and then they end up in the hospital because of the challenge from the poodle dog bush. Look that one up in your, well, I could say this to some people and you know what I was saying, some may not. Look that one up in your Funkin' Wagnalls. You remember Funkin' Wagnalls? Huh? A couple guys?
Oh yeah. Is it the entire plant that's toxic? Or?
Yeah. Just like the poison oak, everything. And we got another seriously deadly plant around here. I don't know if they taught you about that in botany yet. Castor bean. Yeah. Oh, baby, that's the stuff that makes the ricin, that white powdery stuff that they were sending to congressmen that was killing them. It's made of a plant that's right here. It's everywhere, along the railroad tracks, along Sierra Highway. You see it everywhere. It's good to have a broad knowledge of everything. I won't know everything, you guys, and you won't. Nobody ever does. But if you get a general knowledge of a lot of different things, it'll get you through that hour when you're here doing something fun.
Next, what you want next?
Absolutely. Next slide, please. Let's see what's going on here.
This is going to be potpourri. Okay?
Yeah, it is. Anyway, it's all right. And wait, before you click it, during the summer's Breakfast of Champions, young man has a little program he calls, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And it's like playing a game where you choose a category, you get a question as a team, and collectively you discuss that question, come up with an answer, come up with your hypothesis between all y'all, and then you formulate your answer, and then you give the answer if it's right or wrong. If you're right, at the end, you might get a Jill Goddard hat. These are highly prized hats. They're collector's items. You can't get them anywhere except here. If you're smarter than so one of the categories, potpourri.
Okay, here's your
Bingo.
for $400. Here's your next category.
Marietta Ewing, my rec leader in the back, long blonde hair lady, not this tall, took this picture for us in 2021. Ken could tell you, if you don't already know what that is, it's a red-bellied sapsucker. And what I'm looking at in this picture, is that branch. We're going to go out. I'm going to show you where this is. Look the way the holes are with the red-bellied sapsucker. Different than when you see the acorn woodpecker granary a little bit, and certainly different than when you see the flicker's holes in a tree. The flicker's the one that makes the holes in the tree that go in a straight line for the most part, like that. This is all over the place. And of course, what's it doing? Sucking sap. This is a sappy tree. It's a sugar bush. It's right out front. It's actually growing into a tree-ish type of thing, but there's your red-bellied sapsucker right there. And I'll show you where this is so you can use this later on to compare it to the acorn woodpecker granary out there in the park, which, by the way, is likely going to be your most common bird you're going to see here, the acorn woodpeckers. The most common mammal you're going to see here, likely, the beachy ground squirrel, the California beachy ground squirrel, when they're here. Yes, sir.
Do they make a distinctive pecking noise when they're hammering at the tree? Like
You know, I don't know that answer. Do you know if they do, Ken? I don't. We don't. So thanks a pant load for the homework assignment. Thank you very much. No, I don't know, but I will look into that. We can all look into that now. Thank you. I won't know everything, but no, I don't know. I'm just going to get on my little...
Was it Dennis? That was me, yeah. We were going to select a person to any unanswered questions. Our scribe was going to write them down.
Oh, good.
And then submit them for people.
Oh, great. You know, and all I would do would be to go to my computer in the back, that little machine, and hit, red-billed sapsucker call or cry, and then I can hear it. But they make different, and remember, animals make different cries and different calls.
He's talking about the pecking sound.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, but yeah, that's different than an acorn woodpecker or a Nuttall's. I love when they're up there on the power poles and they hit those metal things. It's like a drill. So yeah, and that's another thing. I challenge you to research different animal calls and cries, different animal sounds, and practice them. Practice them. I do that in the grocery store. Kids run. Red-bellied sapsucker. I'm going to show you where this is. It's right here in your parking lot, right out front, and you never knew it was there because I didn't point it out to you yet, or you haven't seen it or observed it. Let's see what I get next, Bill. Oh, my little opossum. Well, since we're talking about mammals and things like that, this is one of the more common mammals you'll see as we get up and walk about here in a minute. One of the more common mammals of Placerita Canyon. You'll see an exhibit, a display, if you will, in the bird observation deck. Know Your Nature Center room, if you will. And we're going to walk out there and I'm going to show it to you. And opossum, the Virginia opossum, not possum, opossum. Let's get it right. Possums are in New Zealand. They're dark and brown and black and furry, and they have black furry tails. Ours is a bear tail, the Virginia opossum. We do not have an opossum here at this time. Have we had them before? Yes. Was I in full uniform with a live opossum, Blossom the opossum, when at the Business Expo on October 19th, 1997 at 1:20 in the afternoon? Saw this beautiful lady across the room and walked up and said, not this one, but like it, how'd you like to feel the fur on the opossum?
That was a good line.
And Mary said, sure, and that's how I met my wife. 23 years later, on October 23rd, 2 years to the week, we were married here out in your parking lot, out in front of the building. I even got bloody married here, you guys. The Virginia opossum has 52 very sharp, pointy teeth in its mouth. One of their defense mechanisms, one of their defense displays is opening their mouth and showing you, which are just little baby teeth. That's my hand, by the way. I'm the one holding her. That's not a glove. That's just the way the coloring is going. But yeah, 52 very sharp, pointy little teeth in their mouth. And when an opossum bites you, they bite you. They keep going. They hold and shake on. This little guy wasn't going to get me. I wasn't worried about him. But that's more teeth in their mouth than you. More teeth in their mouth than a killer whale. They are not indigenous to the United States, of course. Excuse me, indigenous to California. Sorry. I was going in a different direction. They're not indigenous or found here native or naturally. They are here now. They were introduced, like the eastern fox squirrel, those little reddish-brown squirrels that you guys see we all grew up with. Those are eastern fox squirrels, not native, not supposed to be here. You only have 2 native squirrels here in California, the California beachy ground squirrel and the gray squirrel. The fox squirrels are taking over. There are millions of them. They're taking over. They're taking habitat away from the native animals, just like starlings are taking away nest cavities from our kestrels and from our woodpeckers. In falconry, we hunt starlings all day long with our little micro falcons. The merlins and the kestrels, they're very tasty. They taste like bald eagle. Yes, sir.
So were they introduced on purpose as food, or?
Yeah, well, for a couple reasons. Go west, young man, in the covered wagons. So they came west in the covered wagons. They brought opossums with them, right over your head, about to lick your ear. And they brought those fox squirrels with them. One is a food source, and 2, probably to remind the folks that were moving east, wars, and to remind them a little bit of something at home, to remind them of home. It made them, it made them feel more comfortable, a little more at ease. Civil War or something like that, right?
They were a big food source.
And again, of course, they were a main food source. Do you think they might have escaped from somebody here or there? You think some little man or little man cub or little girl might have let one go? Be free, fly, be free. That's why you got the bloody Africanized honeybee here, because somebody down in South America let the Africanized honeybee go down there because they didn't like it.
Are they naturalized now?
Well, are they naturalized now is the question, and that's another point. Good point. Thanks for bringing that up with me. If I'm over here hearing a question, and are they naturalized now? I'm listening to the question, and I start answering the question. Y'all don't know what the question was. What I do is I repeat the question. The question is, have they been naturalized now? Well, they're here. They're everywhere. When Mama has her babies, this is a marsupial. Mammals are generally categorized in 3 groups: the placental mammals, the marsupials, and here's your favorite word, new word, the monotremes. What are monotremes? Are you kidding on me? You don't know what that is? Ah, there are 4 types of echidna. The western echidna, the western long-beaked echidna, the short-beaked echidna. You're not going to need to know all that. People don't need to know all of it. But the duck-billed platypus is a monotreme, hatched from eggs, as are the 4 different types of echidnas. They're all in Australia. They're all over there, which is where a lot of crazy things are in the world. All mammals, of course, differentiate themselves from all other animals on the planet in really just but one thing. The mothers nurse their babies on milk. Placental mammals are developed inside mother's womb. We kind of touch base on that. The placental organ attached to the uterine wall, which okay. So the marsupials are born exteriorly, outside of mama's body. Yes, ma'am.
Echidnas are also marsupials.
I'm sorry?
Echidnas are also marsupials.
Yes, they are also marsupial. They're born on the outside of mama's body, and then mama she licks a little path to her pouch, her external pouch, usually on her belly or down a little bit lower, where that little baby has to crawl, his or herself, in there, and then they essentially will find a little teat inside mama's pouch. They'll grab on that little teat, and as they start to suckle, it swells up, and it swells up to the point where it almost attaches that little baby to the nipple itself. An opossum will spend 2 months inside mama's pouch before they emerge and are ready to start piggyback riding. About 2 months. Not exactly 2 months. See, I caught myself. So about 2 months before they emerge. And while they're piggyback riding on mama's back, if here comes Mr. Bobcat chasing me, mama, remember the animals have 2 natural, deals, fight or flight. I'm not going to fight that bobcat. I'm out of here. So she runs and she'll take a tree. A couple of these little guys might fall off. Then they might end up here. Because y'all see them and you go, oh, how cute. When they're 7 inches long, like a frozen juice can, They're already totally capable of taking care of themselves. They're already about 3-4 months old at that point. They're fine. They're fine. This little guy's got choppers. He can eat crickets, lizards, worms. He'll find fruit. Unfortunately, my lady, Beth, one of their favorite foods, cat food, dog food. People are training them to come to their house. Yeah, cat food, dog food. If you're going to feed your animals outside, I'm okay with that. But you better bring the remains in, bring the leftovers in. Otherwise, you're attracting opossums to your property. Skunks, rats, mice. And what eats rats and mice? Snakes. So y'all with your bird feeders, you know how a bird eats, right? They throw that seed everywhere. They're eating diurnally during the day. What eats seed at night? Rats and mice. They're coming to your house at night, eating the seed you don't see. And then they're, because of their smell, they're sniffers, their tongues, what they're using, snakes are coming to follow those things. Now you're inviting snakes. You could be potentially inviting snakes to your house.
Close the pet door.
Close the pet door, absolutely. How many times have I heard of little dogs running through the door of the house and the coyote falls right in the house? At night, at night, it's, here comes a raccoon, or here comes, exactly. I gave you guys something earlier, it's all on your desk. I hope everybody that's new can get one of these. There's 4 little pamphlets that came from Fish and Wildlife. It's Keep Me Wild. It is against the law to feed wild animals. A lot of people live near the Santa Clara River, and sometimes they'll throw, chicken over the fence or whatever. A lot of seniors at the senior centers were feeding animals by throwing food out for them, attracting those animals, which of course could harbor disease and all kinds of junk like that, right? Don't feed wild animals. It's against the law. You'll see in there, a fed bear is a dead bear. You start to acclimate that wild animal to your property, to your house, remember the 4 things they need: food, water, shelter, and/or arrangement. If any one of these things are arranged in a way that that animal can get to it and get to it frequently and know where it's at, they're going to keep coming. You've changed their natural behavior. It's how I train animals myself. I train my cat to sit simply by nonverbal communication, hand signals. My cat will fetch. My cat will climb a ladder. I got my cat doing just about anything.
So, old people in the park feeding the ducks, they're hardened criminals?
Yeah, hardened criminals. No, and you're going to be very hard-pressed to find an officer or a cop to tell them not to. There are signs up that tell you not to do it. Do people read signs everywhere they go? No, they're not hardened criminals, but if a fish and game warden happened to be in the town and see that, and it became a problem, because if you're near a Canada goose or a pair of Canada geese during the time when they're protecting their nest site, you are going to be attacked. And that goes for everybody who might have a pond or a koi pond, for example, or a pool, or if you got ducks or pools. I get calls about ducks, mallards that are taking over someone's yard. Get them out, flush them out of there, haze them, get them out of there as quickly as you can. You do not want those animals in your property. I get calls from the auto dealerships because of the geese that land in the pond where the cars are. You can't mess with those things. Those are federally protected species that are migratory, protected under the Migratory Species Act. There's a lot of things that protect these wild animals. You got to get them out. Scare them out of there from the beginning, or drain the lake. Drain the lake. Get rid of the water. That's what's attracting them. They're not there. And the other thing, of course, they're standing on their brand new cars, scratching them with their nails, or claws, or whatever. All right. This invitation goes to everybody. You know my hours. You know when I'm here. I can't say everything I want to today. I'm going to be a little bit of everywhere. I want to go outside still today. And I still want those of you who want to learn how to handle the snakes. We have 3 that we can use today. Marietta and I are prepared to help you do that. We'll break down into groups. Those of you who do not want to handle snakes afterwards or learn that part of what will be your initial part here, you don't have to. We'll release them at that point, Ronnie. Sure. But guys and gals, you won't be initially having anything to do with our mammal skunk here. You won't have anything to do with our birds of prey. For you in the beginning, it's going to be potentially the snakes, the spiders. I got scorpion back there. I've got a western toad back there. We have tortoises that currently are brood mating. Brood mating? Mammals, you are familiar with the term hibernation, not that one. Mammals hibernate. Reptiles and amphibians brumate. I know, never heard that word, right? So brumation, okay, it's a difference between cold-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals. Mammals are going to live during the winter months on the fat that they accumulated and stored during the summer and in the fall. Most of y'all think about bears as being true hibernators. They are not true hibernators. It's a form of hibernation called a torpor, and I'll get to that in a minute. But true hibernation, where you're living off the fat of the land, man, you're underground or in a tunnel in a rock, you're underground and you're just sleeping for 5-6 months, living off the fat. Reptiles and amphibians is more metabolic. They will slow their heart. They could magically, Mother Nature allowed them to slow their heartbeat down. Their breathing algorithms slow down. They're almost in a state of catatonic shock. They're not moving, they're not living off any fat or anything like that or what they've accumulated. It's a different whole world, brumation versus hibernation. But it's important if you're out there interpreting our desert tortoises or our western fence lizards or our California newts or our faux gopher snakes, that it's a different term altogether. And I started earlier to tell you not everything in here is real. The condor is not real. This faux gopher snake is not real. The lizard and the newt are not real. Everything in this room, everybody, is real. They've been preserved. I do not say stuffed. Out of respect for the animal, out of even respect for my taxidermy rattlesnake, it was preserved. And the person that does that is a taxidermist. It's called taxidermy. Thanks to Evelyn, we have a grizzly bear and a mountain lion, and then we had to rebuild the building, and there I was driving down Newhall Avenue with a 6-foot grizzly bear in the back of my truck and a mountain lion. She stored them at her house while we were going through the remodel, the reconstruction. All right, Ronnie. Mammals, everybody, are endothermic. Endo, E-N-D-O, endothermic. They produce and maintain their own body heat from within. Ectothermic animals are those that are whose body temperature is going to be reliant on the ambient temperature around them, and their body temperature fluctuates and adjusts according to that. Rattlesnakes aren't going to live past 110 degrees usually. You're going to cook somewhere along the line. Your body temperature is around 98.6. Birds' temperatures, which are also endothermic. All birds and mammals are warm-blooded. That's the other term. You want to use that probably more than anything else. Warm-blooded. All birds and mammals are endothermic. They're warm-blooded. Are different than the ectothermic cold-blooded animals. This is a badger, of course. The reason I brought the badger up was because it is a top predator, pretty close to the top. I think only a really experienced mountain lion can get one of those things. Likewise, a mountain lion, really experienced in what it does, can also take a porcupine. They figure out how to flip them over and go for the soft underbelly. And that's what that bear's going to do too if you're ever attacked. Get flat on your belly, prone out, spread your legs. Cover the back of your neck. Don't let that bear flip you over. He's going to go for all your soft tissue. I see in this picture that, they also double as pointing sticks. Dude got his eye chewed pretty good. You do not want to mess with ground squirrels. We have a red-tailed hawkenback Iana that was formerly a falconer's bird that we think had her toe bitten off by a ground squirrel. Ground squirrels are tough. Their incisors are very sharp. They bite and they don't stop biting like the opossum. So this is a badger out in Moore Park. The reason I bring it up is it's on your mammal list. Uh-oh, I didn't give you guys your mammal list. I'll do that in a couple minutes. So yeah, we've had badgers here. We've had badgers here. I got to remember where I put that. I thought it was my deck.
Copies if you give it to me.
We have it on the binder.
It's here. I actually.
It's on the binder.
It's in their binder.
Oh, somebody.
And also.
Oh, okay.
Online, so, but.
Oh, okay. I produced like 25. Okay, thanks you guys. So you already have them in your binder somewhere. Placerita's mammal list would include badgers. American badger. Not the other, honey badger from Africa. Those are pretty aggressive. Maybe you'll learn all about badgers. I'm sorry?
We've seen badgers recently
Mm-hmm.
through the Placerita Creek going under
yeah.
the freeway.
Right.
The tunnel.
Through the underpass, what we might call a wildlife corridor, a giant one of which I'm very, very thankful they're building out in Agora. You guys, you all have personal experiences. If I said P22 right now, what would you be thinking? Yeah, poor P22, my buddy. I know Miguel at the Natural History Museum. He's been tracking him for years. His is a picture of the famous one near the Hollywood sign.
Frank, we do have Jessica West
Yes.
and Dave Stives did take pictures
Yes.
of a badger
Yes.
in Placerita.
Yep.
Kind of down by the creek by the.
Correct. Yeah. It's a picture of Dave approaching the dang badger, grabbing it by its tail. But we have had badgers, and we don't know where that dude came from, but we surmise he came from Disney across the street. Disney's got acres and acres, hundreds of acres over there too, and through our tunnel that you walk through to get to the Oak of the Golden Dream, it's an underpass, it's a wildlife corridor. These are very important for animal survival and diversity of species. If I'm just locked into one little habitat and I'm just breeding with, that eventually is going to end up being my sisters and my cousins and my, whatever. So they got to, you got to, spread the diversity out a little bit. So yes, we've had them here. I've only known them for years to be in the Castaic Lake area. I knew of some lifeguards that told me they'd seen them up there. I'd never seen them, but I heard about them. So yes, we do have the American badger here. Very voracious animal in the Mustelidae family. Weasels. I have. Do you know we have long-tailed weasels here? I got pictures of weasels. When you get a chance, come find me later on. I was going to throw that in here, and I will for the next one, sir, I promise. I got a picture of long-tailed weasel here. And even an exterminator brought me one once and didn't know what it was. It was caught in a gopher trap. These little snap traps. The dude was very skinny, though, and he actually got in between the prongs. So I put some gloves on, and I pried that thing open and let him run away under the cargo container. And he has never been heard from since. All right, next. Oh, make no mistake about it, my young friends. This is, of course, a mountain lion. You've got one up here. It's about the same size, roughly speaking. This is why you will not catch me out here walking around at night alone, and definitely without a stick. Definitely without a stick. This is a picture we took back in 2018. We did put, and we don't have them anymore, but we do have motion sensing cameras we place throughout the park, as does the city of Santa Clarita. And I'm very good touch with Dan Duncan still. He works in the environmental division. We communicate, and the city of Santa Clarita sends me pictures of this stuff all the time. We have more than, I would say, half a dozen mountain lions in Santa Clarita right now, at least on the outskirts, on what we call the urban edge. You got that giant mountain range, and in the middle, we've got this little valley of people and all that. And right where the people work, play, sleep, live is the mountain range. A lot of you people have property that comes right up to the mountain edge there. Some of you create gardens that invite animals to your house on the urban edge, and we've got them. They're seen here in Sand Canyon all the time. Of course, they have alpacas, livestock, animals they'd leave out at night, and they wonder why their dang goat got pilfered and got, eaten by a mountain lion, attacked and killed. Well, because you left them out at night. You got to put these things away at night, everybody, if you want to keep them. Make no mistake, we have bigger animals than mountain lions here, too. Cue the next picture. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, in my 28 years of being at Placerita, I have never, ever seen a wild lion here. And I'm just going to rattle these off without playing guessing games, but there's more names for a mountain lion than mountain lion. Beth, didn't we have this test the other day?
I saw one at Walker Ranch.
Oh yeah, they're here. That other one was at Walker Ranch, by the way.
Mountain lion.
Yeah, that mountain lion was a picture taken at Walker Ranch. Mountain lion, puma, cougar, panther, like the Florida panther. That's what they call it. Painter, like a painter. Don't know where that comes from. And the one that your great-great-grandfather used to use a long time ago back in the day, catamount. I think that came from cat o' the mountain. Catamount. I've heard that. Not too many people know that, but after I get a hold of them, they do. And they come back years later, and they say, we learned catamount from you 8 years ago. We do not have grizz in California anymore, ladies and gentlemen. This is a little grizzly bear. We have no grizz. We have the black bear, California black bear. In July last summer, in 28 years, I'm in my office, somebody comes running in and said, "You got a black bear out there." I said, "What?" "Let me get dressed." "No, I'm kidding. Let me go out there." So I'm like, "What?" So I ran out there, and sure enough, here comes a couple of people running off the trail. I'm on my side, handicap side. Here they come. "What's up?" "There's a black bear out there." "Is he chasing you?" "No." "Don't run from a black bear, dummy. Don't run." So I'm in the handicap spot, and here comes little bear cub walking off the canyon trail. And he's sniffing, he's walking, sniffing. I yell at him, "Hey, dude, I can see you over there." "Huh? You can see me?" "Yeah, I can see you." "Uh-oh, that human's made me." So he backs up. And he backs up the trail, and he thinks he can go around the holly leaf cherry bush that's up there and come onto the hillside trail where that dumps out, where people have the bikers did that when the trail was closed. So he walked there. I said, "Dude, I know where you're going." So I ran over there, and he came out, and oop, there you are again. There's a two-leg out there. I better watch out for him. So fortunately, a lady who was out there who saw him first had a telephoto lens. She took some pictures. There's the second one. Okay, now I want you to look at this. He looks giant here, but when you look at and you give yourself some perspective, that's another thing. How do I know it's a red-tailed hawk out there a quarter mile away? Well, because of the way its wings are outstretched, the color of its tail is obvious, maybe from its silhouette sitting on a tree, maybe by the way it flaps its wings or doesn't, like the turkey vulture with a dihedral V. There's a little V. Think of vulture, V. Condors don't have that. So here's my little brown bear cub, or black bear cub that's brown. Next. There he is. Next. There's the trail you were hiking on. That's the canyon trail, man. Pretty cool, huh? I was stoked when I saw these. Next. Okay, that's the first bench out there. Carol, you've sat on that bench with your kiddos, little Carolina. You've been out there. So that's a little bench. Obviously, he smelled something. You can see how big he is or how big he really isn't in comparison to the size of the bench. When you're looking at things at distance, use size comparison. People think that red-tailed hawks have like a 6-foot wingspan. That's a 5'10" wingspan right there. Okay, that's not even 6 feet. My red-tailed hawk is nowhere near that. They aren't that big. Use things to give you some perspective and explain that as you're interpreting the environment. Next. So it was summer, it was July, it was 100 degrees out. Dude found a little bit of water left over in the stream bed, and he decided to cool off and then take a little 5-minute break in the water in the stream bed. Next, and after that, after you eat and after you take a little shower, then you take a nap. Here, dude, taking a little nap. He's laying on his right side. He's sleeping underneath, or like taking a little nap underneath the holly redberry. Holly leaf redberry. Thank you, Ruth Ann. And that's it. Is this dude being harmful or distractive or no? He was here for 2 weeks. I saw him walk up on all fours to the trash cans, stand up. He'd grab it, even with the lid on it. He'd back up. He'd pull it down. The lid would go flying. He'd get back and he'd crawl in and he'd eat whatever he wanted to. And he backed out of it. And he stood up and he'd walk over to the next one. He just kept pulling them down. Suddenly I found myself doing a bear presentation out there for the people. One chick on my side of the parking lot, as soon as she saw that bear, boom, she was running to her car as fast as she'd get. Don't run from the bears. Don't run from a mountain lion. Walk with a stick. Never hike alone. Never hike alone, you guys. So many things can happen when you're out there by yourself, let alone any kind of radio reception or phone reception. All right, so yeah, a lot of things can happen when you're out there alone. So always hike together, never hike alone. Don't hike in areas that you're unfamiliar with at night. We know firefighters are out there hiking around at night. They're going over cliffs. Where'd the firefighter go? We find him 2 days later at the bottom of the ravine because he didn't know what he was doing out there. You stay on the trail. Don't go bushwhacking. We mentioned that. So there's your little black bear. Not all black bears are black. We know that, right? Some are brown. Some are cinnamon colored. I've seen them. We had a bear presentation during our community nature series here where we had a very cool presentation by our own Kim Bozell, our natural areas administrator. She showed us one that was like a blue merle bluish gray, black bear. Cool, cool, cool. Really neat stuff. Okay, so yeah, we do have black bears here. No mama. He's about 2 years old. So mama must have kicked him out and said, time for me to, start a new family. Bears will stay with mom and dad or mom, not dad. Bears will stay with mom for about 1.5 to 2 years, where she says, go find your own territory. Go find your own pad. Mountain lions will stay with their mom. Their kittens will stay with mom for about 1 year, 1.5 years. Some mammals actually will stay with their parents for 18 years. Some mammals will stay with their parents for 30 bloody years. Get out. Get out. Fledge. Don't burn your bridges, kid. When I got little people, don't burn your bridge. You might have to go home. You might have to go home after a couple years. Mister, I'm tough at 18. I'm out of here. I'm never coming back. Yeah, nice try, Bubble Eye. You'll be back within a couple of weeks, man. You don't have mom's cooking anymore. So, but birds are lucky. Birds are luckier. They have both mom and dad to help raise them up for a couple months, 5, 6, 7 months or so, before the birds take off and migrate or what have you. So birds have both mom and dad to help care for them while they're in their nest site. They're nestlings when they're in the nest, fledglings when they leave. Okay, next picture.
I think that's it.
Okay, snowstorm in Alaska. Snowstorm in Alaska. All right, everybody, can you please stand up? All right. You can, thank you. No, stop. No. So, yeah, because we're going to take a little walk. You can leave all your stuff here, but when you look around this room, there's so many things to talk about. Yeah, we can't show birds right now because of avian influenza, but we can talk about the golden eagle. And look at the talons, boys. Look at the talons on that thing. Man, oh man, yeah, I've got scars from birds of prey, but nothing from a golden. And we have the great horned owl. That's when I break into my bird calls. Condors, you can talk about all this stuff all day long. We have, and thanks to Ruth Ann, helped prepare a slide presentation for me, PowerPoint. I have a PowerPoint on the bats of the world and of Placerita Canyon. We've got about 7 different flavors of bats here, including the hoary bat. Hoary meaning frosted. Yeah, there's Hoary ceanothus out there. It's the first flowering plant you've seen out there, the white looking. So Hoary ceanothus, Hoary's like frosted. So we have big brown bats, red bats. We have the western pipistrelle. We have myotis, California myotis. We have tons of stuff. Pick a theme. Pick something that you think that you like. And I think I just heard a goonie bird or something, whatever that was. A goonie bird. Can anybody name an extinct bird? Dodo. How about the Carolina parakeet? It's another. That's another.
What about that pigeon that was everywhere?
Yeah. The passenger pigeon. 1954 is when Martha, the very last passenger pigeon, was discovered deceased at, I think, the St. Louis Zoo. She's been preserved. She's in taxidermy now, but Martha was her name. She was, the very last passenger pigeon. Used to be millions of them in the sky.
They're the most common bird in America.
Yep. They were the most common bird, second most common bird.
I think it's the most common.
The most common bird in North America in their day. All right, golden eagle, great horned owl. Are you going to be the girl or the guy? Are you going to do both? Impress your friend. Waka, 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 waka. All right, mammals and the people who love them. We have bobcats here. We have Virginia opossum. We have the gray fox, not the Arctic fox. Oh, and by the way, no, we don't have snowy owls here usually. What in the heck was that snowy owl doing down in Compton last month or the month before? This is an Arctic animal that migrated thousands and thousands of miles to downtown LA. Don't ever say always. You never know when Mother Nature's going to go, yeah, take that, Ranger Frank. Take that in the butt. So she's always going to be kicking me in the butt, reminding me about these things. So snowy owl down here, what the heck? That was first in my lifetime. So yeah, these things, you never know what's going to show. You just never know. So black bears, sure. Raccoons, yes. Striped skunks, during COVID, while y'all were gone, attracted a lot of animals to the park that would not, around the building that would not normally have been here. in 2021, between Dave, our animal keeper, for the all natural, and I and Marietta, I trapped no less than 7 skunks on the back patio. They were digging underneath the enclosures in back, eating my raptors' food, drinking their water, crudding all over the place. Know this, my friends, if you're going to volunteer for me here at the Nature Center, and you're on a day when you're not docenting, as I volunteer to do everything else, so I might ask you to clean up skunk poop. You're okay with that, right? It's scat, right? Did you learn that, scat? There's a whole study of scatology I won't go into right now, but yeah, so we trapped 7 skunks. So what did I do? I grabbed an Eagle Scout out of the air. I said, will you build me an outer perimeter, underground, concrete block fence underground that so then when they dig the, and he did, and we've had one attempt to get in last week, unsuccessfully. So his project went very, very well. It has so far worked. Rats will dig in there and get in there. The skunks are also very notorious. I caught myself in a 4-foot by 8-foot by 10-foot tall room in the pitch dark with a live wild skunk. Didn't know a dude was in there. I went into the room, I opened the door, I went in there, and then I closed the door, and oh, he was right there behind me. Mother Nature, I've always taken care of you. I need you to take care of me right now. Mother Nature, Mother Nature. They can't see very well. They have the ability, if they want to, if they can't detect where you're at, they will spray in a broadcast, like blast you out like that. They'll get all you. Or if they can see you, Caroline, they will look at you and they can shoot a steady stream right into your face. I bet Jack didn't mention that the other day. They can shoot straight in a jet stream right in, or they can broadcast and that stuff will last for days, if not months. It'll travel for miles in the wind. You know when you run over or run by a skunk that's been hit. Our skunk, by the way, we do have a skunk here. Her name is Violet. She's in the Know Your Nature Center, what I call the bird observation deck. She's been spayed and we demusked her. But you do not want to get on my bad side. You never will, for that matter, of course. But before the vet can go in there and demusk the animal, he must insert a syringe into the animal's body, retract the musk from the musk gland in that syringe, and then he can perform his surgery. Guess what? I still own. I said, Doc, why would you keep all that? He says, well, I got some unruly neighbors once in a while. These young kids, and they're partying all the time. If they get too out of line, all I got to do is like shoot a little over the wall and clears them out. I would never be that mean, you guys, but yeah, I still maintain that syringe. It's about that big around. I got about that much juice in it. It takes about 8 to 10 days. They can shoot out. They can nail it. About 5 blasts. They can get about 5 blasts out. They can shoot 15 feet if they have to. It takes about 8 days to regenerate or rejuvenate their musk again before they can go again. But, as compared to the rattlesnake, their fangs are going to drop back down there really quick. Got all these cool creatures. You guys have so many tools here.
Question for you.
Yes, sir.
Scouts and Eagle Scout projects. Have there been a bunch of those, and do you maintain a relationship with scouting troops in the area?
Yeah.
Merit badge, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. In my time, I've done over 60 Eagle Scout projects, both here and abroad. Eagle Scouts built my enclosures in back. They built the 3 in the back. They just put a new roof on the 3 over there. They've installed water bars. They've installed the trees and the irrigation system going up to Hart's Mansion at Hart Park. I've done a lot of projects in my day. Sometimes you got to follow them, you got to work on them, and sometimes you got to follow up. They built all the campfire rings for us around the campfire campgrounds at Hart. They installed the flagpoles. Don't get me going. I could go on. Let's go see some stuff. This is how you ask me, will you please remember, boys and girls, you got to take your polite manners with you everywhere you go. You just don't leave it at home under the pillow, right? Okay, we're going to go in what I call the bird observation deck. Know Your Nature Center. Know Your Nature Center. Placerita's we're calling on Placerita's 8 most common animals, but to be honest with you, I don't see deer all the time. I don't see opossums all the time doing my twilight hikes. Bobcats are diurnal. I see coyotes all the time here during the day. Raccoons are nocturnal. I've only seen no mountain lions in my time here, only in picture form. Striped skunks, too many of those. It's a good idea to learn animal tracks, and like I tell people, you may not see the animal when it's here, but you'll know it's here from its signs or the evidence that it's been here. Maybe you'll see their tracks or their footprints. Maybe you'll see where they've eaten their food. Maybe you'll see where they've been eaten as food. You see a giant pile of blue feathers? You know Mr. California Scrub Jay got it. Could have been an owl that picked it apart. Could be anything. But I would like you guys, again, without going into too much detail, you have these tools available to you. You can learn about the bobcat. Use this as one resource to you. But again, as I mentioned, use several different resources. Personal experience is the best experience you're ever going to have. But you don't always have to learn everything for yourself, right? My mom would tell me not to go out in the street. I said, well, why not? Well, because I could get hit by a car. I said, well, just because it happened to Jimmy doesn't mean it's going to happen to me. She says, so let me get this straight, Frankie. Let me get this straight, mister. You should be an attorney when you grow up. Likes to argue. You're going to go out in the street and get hit by a car and learn not to go out in the street by being hit by a car? I go, oh, yeah, that makes darn sense. Okay, got it, Mom. We're best friends from here on out. She was and always will be my best friend. She is the lady that made me who I think I am today. My mother, my daddy not so much, but my mother, and she's the one that took me to the parks, the zoos. I never knew this place even existed until I came to that school class that one day. But I was here the next day and I've been here ever since. You already know I got married out there. So I would use this as, if you're interpreting, bring people in here. And the more you keep bringing them in here and reading this stuff, the more you're going to retain it. The easier it's going to get for you. The more candid you're going to get when you do your thing. Right now, they have been able to identify, without me, they tried, the blue, red, and green dots. We used to have stickers, but people peeled them off. Darn Flatlanders. So if you look at this blue dot with this particular animal here, that to me looks like a cat print. Where's that little blue? Bobcat. Yeah, okay, there you go. So you match it up with the bobcat. That's how they did that. The reason I know it's a cat as a mammal is because there's no claw marks at the ends of the toes. Clearly, there are claw marks at the end of this paw print here from this raccoon. Clearly, there are no claws at the end of this puma paw print. And that's a very small puma. A mountain lion paw print can be this big. Feline paw prints are more rounded, while a canine's is more elongated. That's supposed to be the fox, I guess. You see the claw marks up here. So yeah, the canine's going to be more elongated, while the feline more rounded. And there are other little tricks I'll teach you later on to tell the difference. The best place for me to find animal footprints here is after a rain in the tunnel, where all the sediment. Remember we talked earlier. We talked about sedimentary carrying, sand, silt, clay particles being carried farther down the and when they deposit, it's easy to find a footprint, man. So again, snow, mud, sand, ashes after a fire. Opossums are really easy because on their hind paw, one of the toes sticks outside. It's an opposable toe, almost like a primate. It's opposable, and there's no claw. Every other toe has a claw. That toe, which are used for grabbing branches and calling, and that tail is semi-prehensile. It's not prehensile tail like a monkey can swing on it, but they use that tail to grab onto the branches to hold on. And I have had many opossums here over the years. I've seen several opossums use their semi-prehensile tail as an elephant would use the trunk. They grab bedding materials, in our case would have been blankies and things like rags and stuff, and they carry them over here and they set up a little bed for themselves. They use that tail like an elephant's trunk.
Are those brown? Because I've only seen white opossums.
Opossums? Well, yeah, I don't know if this is an eastern picture from an eastern opossum. I don't know the origin of the photograph. Remember, there are variables. Red-tailed hawks can be average color, kind of a creamy color in their chest. They can be rufous red phase. They can be dark, melanistic colored. And mine is like super, super dark. I have a 13-year Passage Harlan's red-tailed hawk. 13-year intermewed passage Harlan's red-tailed hawk. Big name for a bird that's colored like a golden eagle. Migrated down a couple thousand miles, probably from Alaska or Canada, which is where they're more commonly going to be discovered. And I trapped her out in the Antelope Valley. As a falconer, I'm allowed to take wild raptors out of their nests. Not peregrines, not yet, but we're working on that. Once the fish and wildlife people get done with their bloody study about how endangered are they, they're not. We have college professors and people that are helping us do this. So use this as an interpretive panel to help you learn about the wildlife here. Whether it's that or our beautiful bird exhibit here. Are you kidding on me?
What?
Monitoring. Are you kidding on me? This is a beautiful exhibit. We got to change this because since this exhibit went up, and I expect you guys to be eyes and ears for us too. We're not going to see everything out here. But if you tell us, we can make corrections to, so we're all on the same page. Used to be Western scrub jay, but now science and the ornithological world has decided that our California scrub jay is more itemized individually than the Western scrubby. These are on the other side of the mountains, Rocky Mountains too. Now they're calling it the California scrub jay. We do have a lot of migrant birds. And then the year-round birds. Your California towhee is going to be very commonly seen here. Where was that little bad boy? Where's my Cal towhee? There he is. I'm trying to read the words. I don't have to read the words. I know what the bloody birds are. Phoebes are common. This is an adult red-tailed hawk. I'm sure Ken taught you that when they're juveniles, and he's got a snake in his feet. Anybody ever notice that? You ever get close enough to see he's got a snake in his feet? They don't obtain their right red tail until they're at least 1 year old. When they're juveniles, they're banded like a red-shouldered or like a Cooper's hawk. When they live a year and they molt out their juvie feathers, when the adult feathers come in, red. They're at breeding age after about a year. This is adult plumage. That's another difficult thing sometimes in the world. Is it an adult? Is it a juvie? I don't know. I have a kestrel at home that molted 2 times in 1 year. They do that. We can take kestrels. We don't know if we're never allowed to take adults out of the wild population. We never take from the breeding population. We only take the juvies that are otherwise doomed for defeat. Of 100 red-tailed hawks that are going to hatch this year, only 27 are going to live to be 1 year old. They have a 73% mortality in their first year. I got a giant list of why. We'll talk later. At the end of 1 year, only 27 are alive. At the end of 5 years, only 5 of the original 100 are still alive. Only 2 Cooper's hawks out of 100 that hatch survive. We know this from banding in the nest. Fish and Wildlife band young birds in the nest. And they track them, they find them dead, and then reload, they do some homework. The federal registry will identify bird bands for you. 2 things I want people to learn when they come to Placerita when I'm talking. 1, we don't have blue jays here in California. Right? Right? Right. No blue jays in California. Duh, hello. Only the blue jay and the Steller's jay have a crest. Dude doesn't have a crest. The true blue jay has a crest. It has white wing bars and white markings on its tail. In my language, we call it a train. 12 train feathers in each of the flying birds' tails. 12 feathers are common. That's it. They molt. You might always see 12. They'll molt out, new ones will grow in, but 12 feathers. Each of these birds has 12 feathers in its tail. State bird, California quail. What's the name of the state flower? What kind of poppy? California poppy. Eaton Canyon has Matilaha poppy. There's fire poppies, different poppies. In some cases, you have to be specific. The California poppy. State freshwater fish? Golden trout is correct. State saltwater fish? Garibaldi is correct, my man. I already taught you, I think, the state mammal. Grizzly bear is your state mammal. Extirpated. They're not even here. They're not extinct. Up in Alaska, you call them the brown bear or the Kodiak, which, by the way, can reach up to and or including 1,320 pounds. That's the 4th largest American mammal. The grizzly bear, the Kodiak, the brown bear, 600 to 1,320 pounds. Polar bears are the 3rd largest mammal in North America. They can get up to 1,540 pounds. The moose after that, 1,543 pounds. So moose and polar bear are about the same. The polar bears are the biggest bears. And the number one biggest mammal in North America, the bison, the American bison. And sometimes you guys, and you all grow up calling a buffalo too, let's say, or let's admit it. Okay, they're not buffalo. You know they're not. They're not water buffalo. And you can talk about the water buffalo in Asia. They're not Cape buffalo in Africa. They're bison. And their scientific name? Bison, bison, bison. Doesn't have to be difficult. Yes, sir, tall bird.
Aren't the whales bigger mammals than the bison?
Land, I should have been clear.
Oh, okay.
Land mammals. These are all land mammals, right? Absolutely. The Antarctic blue whale, the largest animal on the planet, and always has been of all time, 400,000 pounds, up to 98 feet in length. Those are the largest mammals on the planet. The four I gave you are the largest land mammals, American mammals, I think I said. So, the second largest in the world, the fin whale, 80 tons and 85 feet. The largest extinct mammal, the Asian giant rhino, you knew that. Fastest land mammal, cheetah. They can reach up to 70 miles, 75 miles an hour in a quick little burst. That's nothing compared to my peregrines. Man, we've clocked them at 240 miles an hour in a straight stoop. Ostrich can, well, land running bird. Fastest bird running on land, the ostrich. But the peregrine falcon, 240 miles. And we think they can go faster. We don't have anything that we can propel fast enough or faster than that to get the falcon to dive after it. We think they can maybe even go faster than that. We used to think they only went about 180. That's what I grew up telling everybody, 180. And then science and GPS and technology, we clocked them at 240. I have friends that have hybrid peregrine gyrfalcons. Those we can have. But you already know the state mammal is the grizzly bear. State mammal, grizzly bear, 1,300 pounds. That was a little one. All right, and U.S.'s current largest land mammal is the American bison, up to 2,600 pounds. Also, the national mammal. The national mammal. The national bird is what? The what eagle? The bald eagle, right, the bald eagle.
But sorry, are the bisons real bisons, or are they like crossbred with like?
No, purebred bison. Even those bloody bison on Catalina are bison. I challenge you someday after here, or maybe after today, head on over to Hart Park. Check it out. They have 12 head of American bison there that they originally got from Disney. Their descendants are the ones originally acquired from Walt Disney across the street. Zane Grey, I guess he was a director, producer back in the day. You'd know this. Was producing. Oh, okay. Somebody had some. Anyway, somebody did a movie and they made it at Disney. Once Disney was finished shooting all the bison pictures he wanted, then he donated them to William S. Hart, who set them up in his park. We had 13 original head. They've come and they go. We're down to 12. Apparently last year, a subordinate male tried to take on the alpha male. Gored, gone. So they're down to 12 head of bison over there. Who can name the smallest mammal in the world?
In the world?
In the world. The smallest mammal in the world.
Some mouse.
It's not a mouse.
The pika?
The pygmy shrew, the little shrew, but even smaller than the shrew. I'll give you a clue. It's a flying mammal. What's the only flying mammal in the whole? The only flying mammal in the world are bats, and it is a Kitty's hog-nosed bat, also known as the bumblebee bat. It's only about an inch tall. That's how small. It's only got about a 5-6 inch wingspan. That's about it for that little bumblebee bat. They only weigh 2 grams. They weigh less than a penny. 2 grams. And I checked several resources to verify this. Nat Geo is a good resource. Those sources that you know are reputable. So this one's easy for you. Which is the tallest mammal on the planet? Giraffe. The African, sub-African, sub-Saharan African giraffe, they can get up to 18 feet tall. Fastest mammal on the planet. No, that's the one that runs on. There are mammals that actually can go faster than a cheetah on land. It's another flying mammal. It's a bat, the Brazilian free-tailed bat. I used to say the Mexican free-tailed bat, which, by the way, is one of the other bats that we have here at Placerita. Bats migrate both longitudinally and latitudinally. They go up and down in the mountains based on climatology and or, north and south to avoid cold temperatures. Of course, they will hibernate. He'll take cover in the cave or wherever. Yeah, the Brazilian free-tailed bat, according to my reading, several sources say 98 miles an hour in level flight, which also makes it the fastest flying animal in level flight. Can't touch my peregrines diving or stooping, 240, but yeah. Let's go look for some other stuff out here. Use these tools. We don't have poppies here. It's not so boy, we had to deal with that for a couple of weeks, not just the one poor day that she had to do her flower and plant walk. Yeah, they're already growing. Somebody must have come in and trimmed them back. They're an annual plant. They come back annually. Just trim them back like your roses, and you can see the new growth already. So yeah, and this planter started with only like 3 or 4 plants. Thanks to Sue Wallander and Judy McClure, it's flourishing. It's going crazy, crazy, crazy. Cool stuff. Take advantage of that. When I'm out on the trail and I'm sniffing the flowers like we did with Janet the first day, when I come up to the sagebrush, Artemisia californica, and again, you're not going to be using the big terms all the time, guys. Use the ones that people are going to understand. Salud, bless you. Use the little terms. I throw those big words out for you. Artemisia californica, when you smell it, it smells really fragrant. What I usually ask them is, imagine we were out here on the trail, everybody, for 4 or 5 days and you didn't take a shower or a bath. Can you say stanky? Yeah, you'd be real stanky, you guys. So you would want, and if you're out there hunting and gathering, you don't want to smell like a stanky human. So you take this, this plant, you rub it all over your body to mask your smell, to camouflage your smell. When I'm with little men, I call it cowboy cologne. You might have learned that already. When I'm with little girls, or even the big girls, I call it Indian princess perfume. So you got to use your imagination, develop your own gig, right? I'm nothing compared to anybody, really. Just that I've been doing it for so long. I've got a little shtick. I never know where I'm going to go, though. I never know what path I'm going to go down based on whatever. You guys see these oak galls up here? You guys know the oak galls are up here. They're from the cynipid wasp. The cynipid wasp deposits her eggs in the tissue of the tree. It swells up and makes like a ball, but we call it a gall. It's, home for the little baby cynipid inside. It'll eat the inside of that out until it's ready to emerge as a full-grown adult, ready to start the whole circle of life over again. They know about the Lion King. They know the circle of life. Even mom and dad know that. Even mom and dad know that because of the cartoon. I was at Vasquez Rocks yesterday doing an interpretive program up there, and Vasquez Rocks, that giant rock formation, it was actually take care, guys. He said, "Guy Frank, I wish you $1,000. Washnitate hina kupa shanatu." Yeah, right back at you. Where are you looking, dear? That other tree back there? Yeah. Oh, what do you see up there? 2 black. Is there a bird? Some kind of bird.
They could be ravens.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
They're in
All right.
the tree back there.
You can see it back there? Is there a better back there, Jeff? I'm coming around to you, Bob. When I'm out here hiking with the kiddos and the adults, when Judy doesn't do that thing on Saturday, I fill in for her. I've been hiking here my whole career, 28 years worth. I hike at night. Things you see at night, you're never going to see during the day. I asked Russ if I could do twilight hikes again. He says, if you want to. I said, damn, yeah, I've been doing them my whole career here. It's very popular. I'd be out here with 60 people hiking at night. You're going to see things that you aren't going to see during the day. Last year, we were walking on the canyon trail, and we heard the owl. I called back. It called me back. It flew right at us. I can talk to wild great horns. It flew at us. In fact, I was on a twilight hike up here on the ecology trail. Owls call me from the top of the hill. Hike at twilight, not at night, because that time of day, that crepuscular time of day, is when the red-tailed hawks are all coming in to roost, and when the owls are coming out. There's a changing of the guard, and I point that out, man. There's nothing better than seeing a great horned owl fly overhead, or bats, All of the bats in the United States are all insect-eating bats. We have no fruit bats. We know bats are very, very important in the environment, especially in South America, regenerating fields that have burned, the rainforests that are burned or are cut down. The fruit-eating bats, they're grabbing a mouthful of fruit and they're chewing it while they're flying. Hike at twilight, not at night, because that time of day, that crepuscular time of day is when the red-tailed hawks are all coming in to roost and when the owls are coming out. There's a changing of the guard, and I point that out, man. There's nothing better than seeing a great horned owl fly overhead, or bats. All of the bats in the United States are all insect-eating bats. We have no fruit bats. We know bats are very, very important in the environment, especially in South America, regenerating fields that have burned, the rainforests that are burned or are cut down. The fruit-eating bats, they're grabbing a mouthful of fruit and they're chewing it while they're flying. No vampire, they're all insect eaters, but just to name a few, the colorful myotis, long-eared myotis, western pipistrelle, big brown bat, little brown bat, hoary bat we saw inside, the red bat, the pallid bat. We got bats. We got bats. Bat boxes don't work. Don't bring me bat boxes. They really don't work here. Over the years, people try bringing me bat boxes. They don't work too well. They don't work that well at all. Other common animals you're going to see here, the cottontail rabbit, Audubon's cottontail, the gray fox, striped skunk. Usually you see that dead on the road. Opossums, usually dead on the road. Bobcat, coyote. The mule deer, we see a lot of mule deer. Those are a black-tailed deer as opposed to a white-tailed deer on the other side of the country. We've got them here. A lot of illegal hunting here. We have to deal with that a lot here too. And of course the black bear and the mountain lion. We showed you those pictures. Let's go. No vampire. They're all insect eaters, but just to name a few, the colorful myotis, long-eared myotis, western pipistrelle, big brown bat, little brown bat, hoary bat we saw inside, the red bat, the pallid bat. We got bats. We got bats. Bat boxes don't work. Don't bring me bat boxes. They really don't work here. Over the years, people try bringing me bat boxes. They don't work too well. They don't work that well at all. Other common animals you're going to see here, the cottontail rabbit, Audubon's cottontail, the gray fox, striped skunk. Usually you see that dead on the road. Opossums, usually dead on the road. Bobcat, coyote. The mule deer, we see a lot of mule deer. Those are a black-tailed deer as opposed to a white-tailed deer on the other side of the country. We've got them here. A lot of illegal hunting here. We have to deal with that a lot here too. And of course the black bear and the mountain lion. We showed you those pictures. Let's go. Bag on me for my phone. This is a phone. Ladies and gentlemen, the kids have no idea what this bloody thing is. Man, it's like 10 to 12 already. Amazing. We'll do animal handling another day, you guys. I'll give you another repeat. But yeah, so this is my source for outgoing phone calls. I don't Twitter, Tom. I don't Twitter. I don't Twitter, tweet. I've never texted anybody. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any of that junk. Forget that. When you're out here in nature walking around, everybody, I want you to use all of your powers. And when I say that, all of your powers. I need you to use all of your senses out here, not just your sense and your ability to speak, your sense of sight. You got to use all 7 of those senses all the time. Otherwise, you might get in trouble. You got to use them, and you got to use them and know how to develop them. What? Oh, yeah, there's 7. All right, let's review. Sight, smell, touch, hearing, tasting, and your most important sense? Your common sense. You heard me say that before. Oh, just got it, right on. Common sense, and of course you got to have a good sense of humor. Always make sure when you're out here having a good sense. So yeah, you're not going to see the animal, but you'll see the signs or evidence that tell you they're there. Maybe where they've walked a trail and left a path, like the tire tracks. You see that. You'll see where they've been eaten as food or eaten their food. You'll see a pile of bones or something. You'll see a nest site or a burrow, a den, a cavity in a tree. These are all things that tell you the animals are there. They're tracks. They're scat. Exactly, Ruth Ann's favorite. The scat. You'll see all these little clues, and you want to engage them and have them think about this stuff too. have them think about this too. And it will make you think. And then someone's going to ask you a question you may not have the answer to, but that's okay. You know how to get it, right? You know how to get it. Oh, this is my bat lecture right here. Let's walk a little further. A couple more minutes here.